The 910 Comedy
Podcast Network.
Welcome to Marital Tips, where we invite you into our marriage to debate the not-so-important topics, discuss each other, and more. I'm Tim.
I'm Karen.
And we're a couple of married geeks who often get very passionate when we disagree about the super important topics like our favorite TV shows, personality traits, and whether The Bachelor qualifies as a game show.
Well, do they do, challenges on The Bachelor?
I don't know. I've never watched an episode.
Okay, so maybe we aren't qualified to discuss whether it is or not. But Love Island absolutely is. They do challenges,
whatever.
They compete for money, so it's just the fact that it's like an extended season. If Survivor's a game show, Love Island's a game show.
One of my buddies posted a list of game shows, according to Wikipedia, and The Bachelor and Bachelorette were listed.
Boom!
So shout out to Ken for that one.
Thanks, Ken.
So how are you doing this week, babe?
I'm good. I'm a little exhausted because I've been doing the bathroom renovation. As you know, our guest bathroom is really going to be the first room in our house to be completely done.
Any sort of drastic change, really.
Yeah, painting, and we're redoing the countertops, and
it's starting to come together.
Yeah, it's taking a little longer than I thought.
Which is super fun because we're on a bit of a time crunch.
Yeah, a little bit. My best friend is coming to visit next weekend. She will be here a week from when you guys hear
when this episode drops.
So, and I'm so excited for it, but obviously I want to have it done by the time she gets here. But yeah, I mean, I would have had most of it done last night, except I didn't buy enough white paint. Because we're doing I don't want to give everything away because maybe we'll do a before and after on our Instagram. But it involves...
Did we get before?
I did.
Okay.
I'm a skilled DIYer.
You watch enough of those YouTube videos.
I have the before, all right? We're good to go. But I don't want to say too much, but it involves a gradient with paint. It involves a unconventional, let's say, color.
The purple?
Tim, don't expose me.
Is that unconventional?
I mean, I just think a dark color is not super conventional for a room. But my thing is if you, because normally my style is pretty neutral, although I am leaning more towards colors and things like that now. But I would say if you have any wild design tendencies, do it in a bathroom.
Especially the guest bathroom.
Yeah, you can see how it comes out. If you want to do a dark color, why not do it in a bathroom?
Right, especially because, it's the one that you're not going to see the most, and you can always redo it, and it's not a huge room.
It's just paint, So you can see how it is, see if you like it, see if you want to take maybe your wildest design tendencies into other bigger, more monetary commitment areas of the home.
Yeah.
And so that should hopefully, I hope, my gosh, be done by this weekend. So hopefully when you guys are listening, it should be close to done, if not completely done.
Yeah.
But other than that, I'm doing pretty well. How are you?
I'm doing pretty well. I think I'm finally recovered from my birthday. Which by the time this episode drops will be 2 weeks.
Drinking's a little different after 30.
It is.
I wouldn't
know. Not yet, you don't. Let's see. Work's going pretty good. Things have finally started to settle down, and I found my favorite beer. Not to lean too heavy on the alcohol, but my favorite annual release came out this month, and I'm very happy about that one.
Woot Stout.
The Stone Woot Stout. I love that beer.
It's a seasonal release, and it is an adventure every year for us to try to find this freaking beer. We had to go to Spring Lake, which, if you don't know where we're located, it's about, 30, 45 minutes?
Yeah, it was about 45 minutes round trip. So maybe an hour.
That being said, there are many beer providers that are much closer, but this is just how important
nobody
this
had
is.
it.
This beer is the beer, you guys.
It's my favorite annual beer.
It's a collaboration with Will Wheaton and
Fark.com and Stone Brewing.
It's very important, needless to say.
Yeah,
so.
it's one that I think this is the 7th year they've done it, and I was unable to find it for the first 3 or 4.
I like how in like a lot of our intros before episodes, we've talked about like junk food and beer.
I mean,
that's kind of our lives right now.
Quarantine life. That's where we're at. We're still under quarantine. At least for another 3 weeks, the safer at home order here has been extended. So
that's fine. I'm always at home anyway. So
yeah, I work.
Yeah,
go to
I
a
work
job.
Too, excuse me.
Go to a job.
There you go.
But what are we talking about tonight?
So tonight we're talking about astrology.
Oh, great!
Because it's kind of been like not like a huge blowout tiff between us, but like we always kind of butt heads about it every time it comes up. And it's kind of funny, like I kind of bring it up as a joke most of the time just to see you squirm because I know you don't buy into it at all. And obviously our sister show, Dead Girls Talking, they'd back me up on the importance of discussing or being aware of astrology, I'm pretty sure.
I'm pretty sure their first episode was basically that the whole Mercury and retrograde thing was a bunch of crap.
Well, okay. I mean, they post memes all the time about so-and-so in retrograde and, whether it's a joke or not, that's the thing, is like, it's fun to talk about. But it actually really seems to bother you when we talk about astrology.
I just don't understand why people live their lives in such a way that they place so much stock in where the planet was when they were born.
Well,
like there are literally people who won't date certain people because of their signs, and I don't get it.
Okay, you're a Cancer.
I am.
I'm a Libra, just so that we have that out there for anyone who is interested in astrology.
For those who place stock in such things.
I mean, I've played into like the joke of like, oh, Geminis are crazy, like stay away from the Geminis. But I mean, I obviously don't place any real stock into it. Like, I'm not one of those people that I'm going to like adjust the way that I do things based on an astrological opinion. Do you disagree?
I feel like you put a lot of stock in people's opinions. Like there are a lot of times where I hear, well, like, I'm such a Libra, or...
Well, yeah, because it's like, okay, first of all, Geminis, no hate against you. A lot of you are really amazing, I'm sure. And then, just like all signs, I'm sure there are some crazies out there. But like, there are tendencies that you can agree that tend to be more Libra-centered.
Coincidence.
I mean... Libras are all about balance and justice and all of that. And I bet
you would find Cancers that are all about balance and justice. And Geminis that are all about balance and justice.
I don't think that it's a coincidence.
Sagittarius.
I don't think it's a coincidence that a lot of school teachers are Virgos. Just saying. My mom's a Virgo.
I would actually wager that is more calendar based than anything.
What? Why?
Because they get to start the year with their birthday. I bet you that there's actually more of a correlation there than actually the fact that like, oh, the moon was here when I was born. Wait.
So you're saying that people want to start their jobs after a summer off when their birthday starts?
No,
what are you saying?
What I'm saying is that teachers are people who generally enjoy school.
Okay.
And therefore they associate the start of school and their birthday to happy things, and therefore they become teachers.
I don't know. I think that the logic there is more of a like twisty, windy road than an astrological connection, personally.
Okay.
But, I mean, so obviously for those who are, like, if you know, and I think most people are aware, if not like follow any type of astrological belief or what the signs are and things like that. Like, I'm sure even if you don't follow astrology, you know what your sign is and things like that.
I mean, yeah.
So I would say that like, even if you do not believe that astrology plays any impact into life, I think that it's still a pretty big like cultural significant thing because people still know their sign. They still know some jokes about like, oh, Libras have a tendency to be all about balance, or Virgos are all school teachers or whatever. So I think that it's still a pretty significant thing, even if you don't personally believe in it.
Okay, significant and actually real are two different things.
I mean, why do you say it's not real?
Because it's bull.
Why do you say that? I don't understand. How do you know?
How does the place that the Earth was when you were born have any significance on your personality or what's going to happen to you or any of that?
You know, all the time in like psychology and sociology and all kinds of things, people argue about nature versus nurture. Mm-hmm. You know, like as argument or as reasoning for why a person grows up to be the way that they are, why they have certain tendencies, why they have certain beliefs, why they have certain fears, you know, all of those things. Is it nature versus nurture? And me personally, I believe it's a combination of both. But who's to say there's not an additional aspect that we don't fully understand that can play some part into their personality? Why does it have to be only nature or nurture or both?
Because horoscopes are wholly dependent on a single moment in time. Nature and nurture are both instances of long-term effects.
Nature is not necessarily. Like, the nature thing argues that basically you are going to be who you are regardless of how you grow up. So if I gave birth to a child and I placed them up for adoption and they never met me beyond like me holding them one time in the delivery room or something, they would grow up to be essentially the same as if, you know, if they were with me or if they were not with me.
Okay, but that's still genetics.
I mean, does genetics have any say in personality? It could. We don't know. We don't know entirely. So, like, you're rolling your eyes because, you know, I'm backing you into a corner. Like, why do we completely write off the possibility that there's an aspect beyond literally someone's genes or personal experiences that could play into their personality?
Because we're still talking about a single moment.
It's not just space, it's also time. Or it's not just time, it's also space. Space and time. The way that someone is born is a moment in both of those aspects. So it's not just a moment in time, it's a moment in space as well.
Okay, so...
And there's a lot about space we still don't understand.
Your birthday is October 4th. Mm-hmm. Would you argue that somebody who was born October 4th a year ahead of you is likely to be a different personality or the same personality?
Well, there are arguments about, like, especially the Chinese calendar. You know, it's like, me personally, I'm the year of the horse, and I know there's, like, year of the dog,
I have no idea
year
what
of the
I
snake,
am.
You know, that kind of thing. So there are arguments as in terms of the year that you're born, and that definitely plays into your star sign as well. I'm not claiming to be super well-versed or knowledgeable in the astrological arena, but I do know that when you go to look for your moon sign and other aspects of your sign, you do have to know, like, where you were born, the time you were born, obviously the year you were born, the place you were born. All of those things do play an effect because they all matter, because obviously, like, 1 year to the next, it's not going to be the exact same in the sky.
I am, for the record, a rabbit. You're the rabbit.
Oh, okay, good to know.
Yeah, I
don't know anything about that. But...
Me neither. Let's see. Fortune, career, health, and love prospects in 2017. Yeah, I have no idea what any of this is. But, yeah, I'm year of the rabbit.
Okay. I'm horse.
Okay.
Which I think means I'm a strong force to be reckoned with, which, you know, thanks.
But, yeah, I tend to side more on the nurture side in that whole nature versus nurture thing. Mm-hmm. I think that people are going to be who they are based on the circumstances that they were raised in.
Okay.
I think you could put more weight into things you choose to be, things that are forced upon you, more than you can how things were and things you can't control. For instance, I dream of a society where we put more stock in a Hogwarts house than a zodiac sign, because at least the Hogwarts houses are personality traits that you value, you choose to hold in high regard, and zodiac signs are crap.
Well, to bring about the point of you like nurture more so than nature, correct?
Yes.
You have 2 siblings.
Yes.
Are they similar to you? Or do they value things that you don't necessarily? Do they approach things in a way that you don't necessarily?
There
I know the answer to this, obviously, but I'm trying to...
There are a lot of similarities, especially between my brother and I.
Sure, of course.
Especially growing up. But there are differences, too. But a lot of that has to do with the age gap and first kid versus second kid. Or third kid, that all factors in a lot more than, because my sister and I are both Cancers. Would you argue that we're the same person or very similar?
I don't think that there are only 12 people in the world. So no, I mean, I don't think that
our birthdays are 8 days apart.
Yeah, but on
the calendar.
Your rising sign, your moon sign, all of those things are completely different. Just to finish out your argument for you there. Like I don't think there are only 12 people in the world. No, absolutely not. But I do think that there are aspects beyond nature versus nurture that can contribute to a person. Like how do you Okay, I just learned about this person. I should have looked up her name. But it was this person who basically, one day when she was like 2 or 3, she falls down a set of stairs and they think that she's dead. And she wakes up and she is completely speaking in a different accent. She claims to have memories of things that she didn't have before and she didn't know before. She's able to speak to ancient Egypt in a way that, like, her parents had never taken her to anything Egyptian, any Egyptian museum, they had never taught her anything like that. They'd never let her watch any type of documentary. She has knowledge about ancient Egypt in a way that there's no logical reason why she would have ever had any reason to know these things.
Okay.
What I'm saying is the point of this anyway.
I'm very lost on your train of thought here. The
point of what I'm saying is that there are things in the universe that are still pretty mysterious, and there's no rhyme or reason for why things are the way that they are. And honestly, I think it's a bit arrogant to assume that we know every single thing that we're ever going to know about personalities, about space, about astrology. Like, it's pretty arrogant to assume that we've reached the peak of all human knowledge about those things. So to completely discount the existence of past lives or the relevancy of astrology, I think is a little bit closed-minded, to be honest.
See, I disagree, but I mean, it's only going to make me sound more closed-minded. But would you say, okay, so you were born, October 4th. I won't say the year out of respect.
1990, I don't care. I'm going to be 30 this year.
All right. October 4th, 1990 in Gainesville, Florida. Mm-hmm. I imagine that you are not the only female who was born that day.
Right.
In that hospital.
Right. At that time.
Within a couple hours.
I mean, time is relevant to like I said, I'm not an expert, but I know that you need to know, like, your birth time in order to completely chart your star chart.
Which just sounds like they're adding on more to try to explain.
Oh my God. It's just accuracy. Science is all about data points, and it's just adding more data points to your personality. So what's the problem?
My problem is that if we had one child, okay, who we taught astrology the way it's taught now, these signs mean these signs, right? Mm-hmm. And we have a second child and we hit the random button on those signs and go, this sign means this actually. They're both going to believe that that's true.
What?
But you believe that Libras are all about justice and equality and stuff like that, right?
Balance, yeah.
Balance and, yeah. If you had been taught that Cancers did, despite the fact that apparently Libras do, if you had been taught Cancers had that, would you have seen it any differently?
Does the fact that I call it something differently than the rest of the world, like reduce my knowledge or experience in it? Does the fact that I'm not able to identify it the way that the rest of the world does due to a science experiment basically reduce the relevancy of it in my life?
What I'm saying is that you see it. It's what's the term I'm looking for? Self-fulfilling prophecy. You see that in Libras because that's how you believe Libras to be. If you had been taught that Cancers are the ones that believed in justice and balance, then you would see all Cancers as about justice and balance.
First of all, I wasn't taught about signs.
You learned it somewhere.
I learned it somewhere, but I learned I learned it as a young adult when I already kind of pretty well was aware of my personality and certain traits that made me who I was. And when I read about Libras, I was like, you know what? That sounds a lot like me. That's
my point, is that it's a bunch of catchphrases that you can always apply. If you were to read Cancer, you'd be like, oh, yeah.
Certainly there are buzzwords that are used, and absolutely I think that astrology is used in a, not necessarily malicious, but in a fake type of way, because I know that it's really popular in like, teen magazines to publish horoscopes or publish daily horoscopes in a newspaper or something. I think those are crap, basically, because obviously you have an assignment to come up with a new horoscope every day that can be relevant to whoever's reading it, and you don't get called out for it enough for that section to be canceled. So yeah, certainly I think that horoscopes and star signs and things like that can be manipulated in such a way that people can associate really anything that they read with themselves. It's like fortune cookies, but nobody bashes fortune cookies.
I also don't place a lot of stake in them. I read them and go, that's entertaining.
Yeah, but that's a horoscope, essentially. Horoscopes are completely different than the actual, like, I don't want to say science, but the actual structure of astrology. Horoscopes are like basically the redheaded stepchild that just runs away with it, and they abuse it for power and like play off on people who place a lot of, who have a lot of stake in your horoscope and in your star sign, basically. I think that it's healthy to accept that if you are a certain star sign, or if you believe certain things about yourself because of your star sign, that you also accept that there are other aspects and forces in the universe that might place things a different way in your life. You know what I mean? Like, it's not the be all and end all of who you are and what's going to happen to you, essentially. So I think that it's good to be open-minded in either regard, in either camp, if you're open to astrology or if you're not. I think that being closed-minded is the worst thing that you can do in really any capacity, Tim.
Does this argument make me totally a Cancer?
I mean, I don't know enough about Cancers, to be honest. That's not my sign. But like I said, I'm not like an expert on astrology. I'm not sitting here claiming to be like, Madam Karen or anything like that, who's going to sit here and read your fortune.
New podcast coming soon.
But I do think that it is extremely closed-minded to be not open at all, really, to the existence and possibilities of things that have been suggested, like ghosts or aliens, or to other possibilities that exist in the universe, is a little scary about you as a person. And like, if that's what you believe, that's what you believe. But to say like, I know that I'm right, and I know that humankind has reached the peak of our knowledge and we will never discover anything else about what's in our world, what's beyond our world, what's in the beyond.
I want to make it clear that I'm not closed-minded to the existence of stuff like aliens, but I just don't believe that the exact moment that you were born has any bearing on who you are as a person.
And I say, why can't it? If nature and nurture have a place in how you are as an adult, as a child, why can't the possibility of space and time place, some little sprinkling on that as well?
Well, that'll do it for this episode.
Do you have any specific things that maybe make you think that there are reasons why we should place a higher stake in star signs, or do you think that it's complete crap? Let us know.
You can weigh in on all social media at Marital Tiffs on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. You can also email us at maritaltiffs@gmail.com, and be sure to subscribe. That's actually a really hard phrase to say. I need to change that.
Be sure to subscribe.
Be sure to subscribe anywhere you find your podcasts. And if you're an Apple Podcast listener, please rate and review us. You can find us on the 910 Comedy Podcast Network. Check out 910 Comedy on Facebook, and check out our sister shows, That's Just My Face, Hometown Crowd, and Dead Girls Talking. Thanks for listening to Marital Tiffs.